Hello, Worldy Warriors! Today, on the Joy of Makerpen, we're going to make a ceremonial hand washing station. Come on, it'll be fun! So today what we're going to do is we are going to create a ceremonial hand washing station. It's a place for you to reflect for a moment and to cleanse yourself and be ready for your opportunity to share tea in a tea ceremony with those people that you care the most about. Recolor, and we're going to go to orange, and we're going to go to cardboard, because those are the two that I like to use to get started with. Our next thing we are going to do, we're going to say create, and we're going to come down here to our palette, and we're going to go to our shapes. Now I am going to use our new mound. Now I want you to remember that as it stands right now, this shape is in beta, but we can use a room that has beta set up in it, and if you haven't seen how to do that yet, you can check my video on how to set up a beta room so that you can use these wonderful new toys, which I call toys. They're not really toys, but they're shaped and you can do fun things with them. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to select our shape that we have drawn, and I did do this on the grid so that it would be square with the room. We're going to center our pivot point into the center of our object. You can see it popped in there. Now it's in here, our set right there. And then we're going to say done so that it sticks. Now we're going to use manipulate, and we're going to shut off the grid so that we can make this any shape we want it. We're going to go this direction so you guys can see it better. There we go. All right, so I have that, and I am going to now flip that. Now, once again, look at where my pivot point went. We've got to select it again, and you know, this is just so much easier than trying to do it later on and try to get it in the right spot. Just let the machines do it. Oh my goodness, that's what magic is for, right? So now we are going to say done once again. We're going to rotate our piece so that it's up on the side like that. And I am going to clone it. And I'm going to clone it so that I have it going the reverse way. And then I'm going to select both of them. I'm going to clone right in the center. Clone. I'm just going to, it gets bigger when I hover over it. I have cloned that. And now I am going to, I'm selecting, and I am going to merge those two shapes. And I am going to, there we go. We've clicked it so that they have gone. And I'm going to do it one more time. Watch this. Ta-da! Magic! All right. And we are going to select the other two pieces now. And we are going to, once again, merge those shapes. I'm going to show you what we have here. I have a nice shape like this. All right. Now I am going to try to make this whole thing a little bit bigger. We're going to scale it up. We're going to manipulate it a little bit. We're going to manipulate each individual piece so that they are where we need them to be. Making this one a little bit longer coming towards me. And I'm going to make it a little bit longer coming towards you. By manipulating these, we are giving them a little more fullness so that it has a nice shape to it. Now you can use any shapes you want to make this. This is not the end-all way to do this. This is just my way of doing it, and I'm using new shapes because I like them. If you don't want to do a beta room, don't do a beta room. Oh my goodness. Nobody says you have to. All right. So now I'm going to flip this over again. We're going to say done, and we're going to take the whole thing and we're going to flip it. Boom. There we go. And I'm going to lower it down so that it's not in front of my face. So you can make this as tall as you want. You can make it as short as you want. It's all up to you. Completely and totally up to you. I want to make it a little bit smoother, so I'm going to do that. What I did there was I clicked it inside. I'm taking the inside and making it deeper that way, and then I'm pulling it back out this way so that it gives it a little bit different shape. And we're going to change cameras so you can see that shape a little bit more. Coming out this way. We're going to imagine that this is being made out of rock. That's what I'm doing. I'm imagining that it's being made out of rock. And that when you carve rock, gosh, rock is not easy to carve. It really isn't. I just want this to be as authentic as I can make it for my tea house. If I could do this in real life, I would make a really good Japanese tea house in my real life because I think they're just the coolest things in the world. And I love the idea of the Japanese tea ceremony. Because it is an opportunity to share your time with people that you love and people that you care about, and to show them how much you do care by making a simple cup of tea for them. And that's a pretty cool thing to do. So we're going to change the color of this now. We're going to go to black. And I kind of see this as being something made of basalt. I know that it would be rather it would be probably pretty difficult to make this out of basalt. Basalt is a pretty hard rock. So I get to make it out of that because I'm using a Makerpen, and that's kind of cool. And basalt is kind of shiny. When it's polished, it can be very shiny, but it has kind of a glow to it. I'm going to use sand as my color. There we go. Now, I basically have an urn that could very easily hold liquids of any kind. And you can see that it kind of takes a little bit more of a rock look to it once it's got the color in it. It doesn't look quite so much a big orange blob anymore, does it? So the next thing we're going to do is I am going to create some water for down inside of there. And I can do that with just about any shape I choose. In fact, I am going to do it with our rounded square. I'm going to change the color before I even get started so that I have exactly what I want in there when I get it down in there. And I'm going to use, I always use grip tape for my water because it just seems to have a nice shine to it. And so we're gonna put the grid on. Let's see, on top down. All right, we're gonna create my block inside here. And we're going to manipulate. And we're going to shut off the grid again. So we have it in there. We're going to make it, you can go out past the edges of the black. We're going to use the smooth ball shape. And I'm going to turn my grid back on again. So we're going to have our ball of water. And I'm going to shut that off again. And we're going to maneuver that back down in there. So I'm going to grab it with the move tool. And I'm going to put it right in there. Now the idea of this is that it will spin. And the way we're going to make it spin is we're going to do just a little bit of animation today. So we can either use the animation tool, which is, I'm going to make it so you guys can see it from that angle. That right there. Or we can use Cv2, which I think is preferable in this situation because all we're going to do is make it spin. We go to circuits. We have all these wonderful things here. We can say see more. And we're going to go down here and grab a rotor. Now I'm going to put got the rotor here. I'm going to put my grid back on again. And I'm just going to put that right there. It's squared into the room now. It has its pivot point right where I need it. And I am going to rotate it. Okay. So now it is going to make the ball spin. So we're going to move this. We're not going to use the animation gizmo today, so I'm going to take it away. I'm going to get rid of that. Goodbye. And we're going to move this. We're going to use the arrows to move it so that we don't mess up the pivot point on it. We want the pivot point to be perfect. And it's probably easiest if we have it right there over the center. Okay. And I'm going to just kind of lower it down in. And then I'm going to move it out. That way we know that it's going to be in a straight line. Now, we're going to go up here and we're going to hit connect. Now the connect tool, as you can see here, from the top down you can see that I can hook it to the outside or I can hook it to the inside. The gold pin in the center is where you want to hook this. So I'm going to grab that and I have a nice white thing that comes out and it's going to, oh, first thing we have to do is, let's back up. First thing we need to do is we need to go back in and we need to edit that ball. That ball needs to become a separate piece. So we are going to grab it, select it. Our options window comes up. We hit that and we say at the top it says split shapes. That's what we're going to do. We're going to split that shape out from the rest of this whole thing because it's going to be a separate piece. And we say done. Now when I grab it with the connect tool, grab it and bring it over, and you can see that I don't know if you can see the green or not. I guess the camera doesn't pick that up, but I'm picking up just the ball now. So I can test this now to make sure that I've got it in the center as much as possible by just making this go. Oh, see, it's coming up out of the water. We don't really want that. It's not centered enough, is it? Okay, so we're going to disconnect that. And we're going to bring our rotor up. We're going to bring it over. And we are going to get this centered as much as humanly possible. And the best way to do that always is to grab that, say options. There we go. Got a hold of it. I want to get that as close to the center as I possibly can. Sometimes you have to look at it from another angle. I think I now have that as close as I can get it to the center of that ball. Look at it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Just eyeballing it there. Then I'm going to grab this and I'm going to attach the ball to it. I'm going to move the whole piece down in and I'm going to center it in the center of my basin. And I'm going to test it's going around just the way I want it to when I put rotate on it. All right. So now all I need is to get this thing started. And to do that, I can use an interactive volume, or I could use a trigger volume. I can use a constant, go to circuits and say commonly used and get an event receiver. Event receiver looks like that. And I can configure that so that when the room, I have several different things. When a consumable is used, on the game end, when I send a test event, when I have an update of 30 Hertz, so that it keeps continuing to play all the time. When the room loads, when a room is reset. So I'm going to put it on room reset right now. And I'm going to connect that down here to my rotor. We're going to just reset the room. And you can do that on your palette also. And there we go. It's running. And when my circuits are off, this is how it'll look for your guests when they come in to see your room. It looks like water bubbling up out of there, doesn't it? It's kind of cool. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a ladle that you would use to scoop the water out of the hand washing fount. To do that, we're going to go to our palette, and we're going to create. We're going to go back here and get to our shapes. We're going to come down here and we're going to get our pipe. And we need to change our color because we don't want it to be blue. We want it to be orange because that's the color I always use. I know I'm kind of silly that way, but that's just who I am. I like it to be easy to use, easy to see what I'm doing. And we are going to go up to a larger size, which our grid will do for us. And so here we have cup portion of our ladle. Okay, and as always, we shut the grid back off. We select the item And our options comes up. We center that pivot point into the center of our piece and we say done. So now we can manipulate this. Now I'm going to turn this over so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to manipulate this. I'm going to make it a little bit longer. And this looks really large, but we are going to make it big and then we are going to shrink it down afterwards. We're going to hit it again and we're going to put that pivot in the center one more time. Okay, I'm done with that part of it. Now we also need to have a handle on it. So we can scale it down to the size we think it's going to need to be. And because it's going to be, the entire piece will be shrunk down, we're not going to make it too small. We're going to make it about like that. And we want this to be a little bit off center because that's the way it looks in the pictures that I've seen from Japan. And we're going to do like this, and we're going to take those two pieces and we're going to merge them. And then we're going to make this longer. About like that. All right. And it might need to be just a little bit skinnier, I think. Yeah, like that. That sounds good. All right. Now we can always adjust this again, but I am going to adjust it right now to get it a little bit more centered on my main piece. Okay, we're going to say done. We're going to select, and we're going to get that. We're going to have to move this by hand. I don't like that, but we're going to have to. And that's because of the way I put things together. Let's see if I can go back and change that. Let me show you what I did wrong. We're going to go to there. Okay. So when I selected this piece, I should always select the one with the center point that I want to use, and then select the second one and then merge them. You see how it stayed inside there? And before it was over here because I chose, let me back it up. If I choose this one, this is where my point is going to be. I don't want that, do I? No. Because that, when I put those together, if I merge that right now, this is where my center point is going to be. So I'm going to deselect both of them. I'm going to select the one where I want my center point to be. And now it's going to stay in there and I can merge them together. And then I can do all the other things that I did a minute ago, which is I'm going to go to my manipulate. I'll make that longer. All right. And let me take another look at it, see if it's in the right place. I think it is. I think we did scale this down just a little bit to make it a little bit thinner. I think that's about right. And if it isn't, I can always change it. Now, I am going to put an end piece on this end over here. So all I need for that is a plug, basically. I'm going to take another piece just like this one right here, and we're going to flip the whole there we go. Got the piece flipped around there, and I'm going to put that right there. I want it to be squared in the room. And again, I'm going to have to be careful because I've got a pivot point here from this that could mess me up. So I got to always stay mindful of where your pivot point is. And so now I'm going to bring this over. And I'm going to bring it over again. And I'm going to bring it over one more time because I want to get it centered on there as much as possible. And then I can just scale it down some. And then I can manipulate it so that it goes down inside. And the inside is going to come up a little bit. All right. Now we're going to say done with that. We're going to select the outside piece first because there's my pivot point down inside there. Okay, we're going to select this and we're going to select this. Come on, pick it up. There we go. There we go. Now I have both pieces. My center point is here. We can say options, merge those shapes, baby. All right, so now we're going to quickly configure this piece so that I can hold it in my hand. So when I'm on configure, then I can change this. Everything comes out as environmental in the beginning. So it's environment. That means that if you run into it, it'll stop you from moving. Something that's decoration, you can move right through. And then we're going to come down here to grabbable is grabbable. We're going to click that on. It doesn't need to support a wall run, and it doesn't need to support clambering or teleport. So we're going to shut those two off. Now, one of the things that does is it makes it less ink. There's less ink being used when you use something as a decoration than as an environmental piece. And if you use it as a physical piece, it's far more ink. It's going to drop, it's going to have gravity, it's going to have all those things. And we don't need that. We just need a decoration. So there we have that part. And we're going to move this back up again so you can see it. So there we have the bottom of our ladle is filled in. We have a handle. We're going to make it all much smaller now. So we're going to go. That's about the size that the cup needs to be. I obviously need to make the handle a little bit longer because it just will look much more like what we want it to look like. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to change the colors. We're going to change the color to ochre. We're going to change it to ochre because these things are generally made out of bamboo. So we have our bamboo color there. And bamboo is such a beautiful wood all by itself. It really doesn't need any paint or color. Sometimes they use fire to give it some different look to it. But for the most part, it's just beautiful the way it is. And believe it or not, I'm going to use brick. So we're going to say done. We're going to hit this whole thing with brick. The reason I did this painted brick color is because when you look at it closely, you can see that it has little variations in the color that make it look a little like bamboo. And I'm going to bring that up to the camera a little bit closer. Drop that. And so now we have the shine of the beautiful bamboo and the little lines that are kind of making it look like those sections of bamboo, because bamboo is actually a grass, if you didn't know that. I think what we're going to need to do, though, is we're going to need to manipulate this again. It's a little bit too far inside there, isn't it? There we go. That's better. So now we have something we can dip down and pour water over our hands to wash them for the ceremony. Isn't that fun? Here we have our scoop so we can wash our hands. And that's going to lay right there on our Tsukubai. So today we made a Tsukubai. We have a place to wash our hands ceremoniously. And we're getting ready to have our wonderful tea ceremony in our little tea house. I hope you enjoyed this. Bye. Oh, it keeps disappearing. Why is that? Oh, because I have this off. There we go. So we need to get rid of one of those. Okay, back up.